room. He has been so awesome at helping students navigate through the CPA review program. And so Mark, awesome, thank you. I hope you love your time in Indiana and near your grandkids, and that it's just awesome for you. So thank you so much for everything you have done for the department, and we really appreciate it. Anybody else?
So Mark and I, I know him, but I didn't get close to him until the year before last year, right? It's 2 years ago. I was asked to teach a management accounting class to 19 MBA program, and I have never taught that class. So I went to Mark and asked if he can share his teaching material with me. Of course, he is very open and share everything he has about the course with me. But then, if anyone who knows Mark, he's a great teacher, and that means his PowerPoint slides with very, very few words. His slides are full of pictures. But then when I saw those slides, I have no idea what those pictures meant. So, and then I went back to him, he said, well, all these pictures, each one represent an example or experience he had. And he used those to demonstrate, certain concepts in the course. So, of course, I don't know those pictures. And then he actually sat down with me multiple times. Each time maybe lasts for an hour to go over his slide with me. So I would not be able to complete the course without Mark's help. And his selflessness helped me to get through that program, especially when I couldn't go to China when the pandemic hit, and I have to teach this online class. So without all these examples, experience, I would not be able to finish the job. So thank you, Mark, for your help.
Okay, so I got something to say about everybody, but we'll take it one at a time. So Mark, you had an advocate in Pam Smith. Let me start there. So Pam was consistently in my office saying, we've got to figure out a way to get Mark on the fact that Mark at the time was looking for a transition away from that course, and he had been contacting me. But Pam was the advocate that you had inside the department. She was always after me saying, we got to figure out this out. So, okay, so I'll never forget when I got up. So we posted, Deborah had decided to retire, and we posted the director position, and I can tell you exactly where I was. I was in National Harbor at AAA, when he called and said, Jim, I think I might be a fit for this director of your CPA review. And I hadn't really thought much about that, but at that point he connected the dots for me. So that's how Mark got here. But I would affirm everything that Chi-Chin and Pam would say was just a fabulous individual, knowledge base that really benefited our students. I mean, in so many ways. And so I'm actually sorry, Mark, that you decided to transition, because I think our students are the ones who are going to be the losers here because of all that you do. And so thank you for being with us for a few years. Thank you for taking on the CPA review when you knew it was probably going to be winding down. I mean, that was a real possibility, that we were in this position of maybe winding down the CPA review. And so thank you for doing that. And I'm so pleased that you were able to stay on the faculty. Thank you for all you've done for us.
I just wanted to say one thing. I don't know if people in the room know this. When Jim called and said I could be director of the NIU CPA review, why was that very important? I was down at the University of Illinois Champaign. I toyed with going teaching rather than practicing accounting. both the Dean of the College of Business and the Dean of Education both said, Mark, you're going to be a lot more valuable teacher if you practice first. So they kept me in practice. I was at Ernst & Young and all. But that threw me off by a semester. So at University of Illinois, Professor Perry was the CPA review. I did not take Professor Perry. I took the NIU CPA review. And why I'm a CPA today?
All right. Mark will be a big shoes to fill in the MBA program and the other graduate classes in the program. He's just been huge and willing to teach any class I asked him to teach, so thank you. Okay, Tamara. So Tamara, you were there pretty much when I came, or shortly, right around the exact same time that I came, and I've been there 16 years. So Tamara, as you all know, was the director of our internship program, did a fantastic job as that director of the internship program in keeping students on the straight and narrow, working with our employers, getting people at the career fair, organizing the career fair. I know that when I became the chair, I never worried that it was going to be flawless. It was just an amazing organization. She got all the students registered. She got the employers registered. She made it so easy for me as she did that role. And she was also great in the classroom. She was one of our very first instructors to teach an online class. Her and Sandy, I believe, were the first two. And so I really appreciate all that you have done for the program. You have been a joy to work with. You always make me smile, and it's just been a joy to work in the department with you. So thank you for everything you've done.
Okay, so I'm just going to affirm what she said. When I became chair, I had a series of questions for Greg Carnes. And one of the questions was, give me the 5 things I need to be concerned about, and give me the other question was, give me the 5 things I don't need to be concerned about. And number 1 on the list, internship program. Don't worry about it. Tamara's got it. She's got it covered. So I agree fully with that comment. The other thing that I really appreciate about Tamara was her desire to make certain that the students understood the ethics of interviewing. And sometimes that was a difficult challenge for students to navigate, the idea of, okay, I'm committed on this internship, so can I interview with this firm? No, you can't. You're engaged. And so she came up with these ideas that were really, really good. Second thing she had to do was navigate, as you might expect, all the firms have different ideas as to how they want to hire students and when they want to hire students and what gates they need to move through or don't move through. She had to navigate dealing with all these firms with different competing interests, and she did it perfectly. So thank you, Tamara, for all you've done for us.
So first I would like to say, Tamara, you know, how important our internship program was, and as Karen and I supported with a scholarship for our interns. So I just have 2 things to say, and they both have to do with the fact that for many years our offices were across the hall from each other. So the first thing is that I could hear Tamara talking to her students, and very quickly I figured out this is what I want to be when I grow up. This person deals with, and she influenced me. I really dealt with my students in a way that there was some influence there from hearing Tamara and hearing her talk to her students. The second thing comes in a little bit of an apology. Many of you know, like, one of my first loves in life is music. And if I could play my saxophone in the subway and have people give me money, I would have left the faculty years and years ago. The only way people would give me me money in the subway playing my saxophone would be to stop. Here's $5, please don't do this, whatever. And so most of the time in my office, especially if there weren't students around, I would have music playing, Christmas music at Christmas time, and jazz, and even some old rock and all that. So, and I think Tamara had to put up with that for many, many years. And so for that, I apologize. All the years of putting up with my music, but it is going to be a huge loss for the university to try to fill her position in the classroom and in the internship program. But congratulations on your retirement.
All right, Tamara.
Dave, I would love to sit in my office again and hear that music. Thank you for all the kind words. Every person that I have worked with in this room has taught me something. I have learned from all of you. I mean, there's so many lessons, and I'm leaving this university so much smarter than I was when I joined. So all I have done is gain knowledge, and it's been a blast. I really, really have enjoyed it. You've made it a pleasure. My biggest pleasure comes from seeing students grow. You know, they walk into that career fair, and especially the guys. They're so nerdy. You know, and then they do an internship, and they come back and they give their oral presentation. And they're like, "Yes, I learned all this," and I'm just like, "Wow." I mean, the change they can make in 6 or 9 months is amazing. And then that's a credit to all of you. You are all wonderful professionals, and I've enjoyed all of it. Thank you very much, and carry on. Thank you.
As has been a long, long time tradition, we have some poems for various people. So John, do you want to come up here and share the poem that you wrote for Mark and Tamara?
I know it. These are precious.
Okay, the name of the poem is very sophisticated, Farewell to Mark and Tamara. Okay, so Tamara received her undergraduate degree from Valparaiso University, where the school colors are brown and gold. No one can disagree that her career has been anything but 100% big and bold. Mark received his undergraduate degree from a school located in Urbana-Champaign. His education produced a career for Mark that can only be defined as a huge capital gain. And by the way, that's a long time.
Not taxable.
Soon not to be? Okay, after being a partner at ENY, Tamara decided to join our department and give teaching a try. Cost management, performance measurement, and ABC are things that Tamara likes best. And these are the topics that the courses she has taught have addressed. For being internship director for many, many years, Tamara deserves a huge credit. How do I know that? I know because I was the internship director for 1 year, and I thought it was a debit. Mark has been a controller of NICOR National and worked in public accounting for E&Y. Mark brings a lot to the table, and our students know why. For the past several years, Mark has directed our CPA review program. He has taught our capstone graduate course and FR3. His success in all of these efforts is there for everyone to see. Mark and Tamara both have graduate degrees from Northwestern NIU. Both are Wildcats who decided to contribute their vast skill sets to accountancy students at NIU. Adjectives that describe Mark and Tamara include loyal, steadfast, dependable, conscientious, caring, intelligent, ethical, and fair. The department realizes that there are no replacements for Mark and Tamara out there. Over their careers, both Mark and Tamara have worked to the max. It is now time for both of them to relax. Both Mark and Tamara will now have more time to hit a little white ball. And the good news is that both can do it during winter, spring, summer, and fall. It's now time to say goodbye to prospective colleagues and friends of NIU. The department and university are much better off because of you. Have a great retirement.
So we have a bag of goodies for each of you. And this is Tamara. And we also have your poem on the framed wood panel that I will get out when we're finished. Okay. I don't know where to go next. So, Margret, I'm gonna. Margret has just been an amazing person to work with. And I can't thank you enough for how many times you have saved my butt.
I will affirm that.
Brad, I'm sorry. Our core and the things that she has done to help the faculty in the department and the department to be successful, it's just amazing. And I don't think you can really understand the magnitude of her impact unless you sit in that corner office. And to have been so successful and such a huge asset through 3 different chairs and 35 years, she's a huge loss. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I love you, and come and visit with me.
Okay. All right.
Margret, thank you. There were so many times where Jim could, when he was chair, he could just say, no, Margaret's taking care of that, or she told me what to do, or she saved my butt again. So thank you, because you brought a lot of peace and joy into our family by being who you are. Thank you.
I don't know if I can say anything else, right? That is absolutely true. When just the institutional knowledge, and Rebecca's right. I mean, unless you're sitting in that corner office, we all know how valuable she is. First of all, let's be clear. All of us know how valuable she is. But when you're in a corner office and there are these forms you've never seen before, many, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate HR, which so just the whole hiring process, so grad assistants through faculty, it makes no difference. Having somebody with your knowledge made the job so much easier, because I would agree. I can't think of the number of times she saved my butt. I mean, just saying, no, Jim, you can't do this. Now, some of you know I do have a tendency to push the edge of the envelope a bit and try to see, okay, well, why not? She does too. Let's be clear. So I would say something to Margaret, and she goes, oh, well, let me think about this a little bit. Let me see if I can figure this out for you. And so it was one of those things where just because she knew folks across campus, and she knew folks in the provost office, and she knew HR, that there were things I didn't have to worry about. So Mary Jean's right. I mean, I didn't have to worry about things because of you. And so I too love you. I can't, I'm really sorry for that. That was Don's comment. I'm just going to give credit where credit is due. But it's true. I mean, you know, so we're losing all that institutionality. So I hope you have her cell phone number. I know she's going to be in the area.
She doesn't ever answer her cell phone.
Oh, she doesn't. Okay. Then you're going to go knocking on the door. But thank you, Margaret, for your dedication to the department, to the faculty, to the administrators, and to the students. We all will miss you greatly, but we know that you have other things you want to accomplish, and we're excited about that. So thank you.
Brad, are you going to resign?
Hi.
You're going to resign?
So, no. Maybe we can figure out a way of keeping her on.
So, do you see these?
Cookies.
Y'all need to take one of these with you because we're not going to get paid. I don't know anything about HR. I don't know anything about hiring people. I don't know. I don't. Yes, my wife. She don't know anything.
So he's going to
So we're going to
resign.
have fun in July. I'm going to miss you, Margaret. I was scared to death of you probably the first 10 years that I was here. I'm still nervous, but not as bad as I was. But enjoy yourself. Don't answer your cell phone.
I never do.
If you see smoke coming from Varsity Hall, just keep going. We'll manage. But do please take some food home with you because I don't know if we're eating. Any of us are eating in July. So thank you.
Tell you that Margret is processing most of the contracts. We're trying to get them done this summer.
That's good.
All I can tell you is when I was advisor for SAS and the internal audit, student group and internal audit, I would have people from the IIA, whatever, and say, we need to speak to the person in charge. Who's your department chair? And I'd say, no, speak to Margaret. You don't want to deal with the department chair, just speak to Margaret. That is what Margaret was for this department, or still is for the next few weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Margret sent me an email about 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, I really want to take off July 4th to the 10th. Ha ha, I don't have to ask anymore. And I cried. Anybody else? All right, John Simon, you're up.
Can you see my inventiveness for the first title? Or the second one is Farewell to Margret. Okay, 1985 was a wonderful year. The Bears won the Super Bowl. Pat Delaney was chair. Our students were #1 on the CPA exam, and a woman named Margret joined us to begin a 36-year career. Margaret's work ethic is second to none. Getting things done is her definition of having fun. Margret has provided vital services to 6 different chairs, and they all have thanked her for stopping them from pulling out their hair. Margret knows all of the intricacies of the paperwork labyrinth that is NIU. If you want to get paid or have other things get done, Margret knows what it takes to row the picker-worked canoe. For many years, we had Angie, Christy, Margret, and Jean Laptine. Our department has been blessed with a proverbial supporting staff dream team. As they say, all good things must come to an end. Having Margret retire leaves us with a problem that is difficult to comprehend. The department is losing much more than a fellow co-worker. We're losing a member of our family, and it will take some time for the department to mend. Words cannot express how much we appreciate what Margret has done. We all say, job well done, and please take time to have some non-work related fun. Margret, have a great retirement.
I'm gonna miss everybody. Brad, you want to resign now? I've enjoyed working with everybody. I started in accountancy and went up the ranks all my years for an accountancy. And I think the College of Business, in my opinion, is the best college in the university. I mean, all the girls in my position, we get along wonderful, and everybody helps everybody else. You guys have all been wonderful. I've worked with wonderful chairs, so I'm not pushing my luck. I told Rebecca, you go, I go. So I'm going to miss everybody, and I love everybody.
So Margret, this is your goodie stack.
Okay.
And you guys can open that here with me after a minute. Okay, last but for sure not least, Pam. So, the department is suffering, it is going to have many great losses this year, with 4 fantastic people between Mark, Tamara, Margret, and Pam. It's hard to think about how that group of 4 people will be replaced. But somehow, we've always managed to do that, and we've always managed to hire fantastic new instructors like Candace.
She had birth babies.
Oh, bummer. And Martin, and Mark Mellon, and Matt Picard. Just have had a continuous stream, and I think a lot of that success in hiring is because of the senior faculty that has been here when we all joined. And so Pam, you're one of those and very, very, very important senior faculty in the department. You have always been a mentor to me. I've admired you as a woman and as a strong woman and as a fantastic, fantastic teacher who her students are so important. Your students are just so important to you, and I know you would do anything that you could to help students be successful. And I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done for the department and for students and for the accounting education community as a whole. And I'm going to stop.
So Pam's one of the reasons why I'm here. We met, so my interview happened in San Diego at AAA, and Pam was at my lunch with Greg Carnes and John Ekstrom. And they were very influential, Pam especially, about me coming to Northern and directing the MST program. So that's how, so Pam was influential there. Another thing about Pam that you may not know is that we both share the same undergraduate alma mater. We're both Ferris State University Bulldogs. Not Huskies, but Bulldogs. And so I didn't know that until that first lunch. But Pam was persistent, along with Greg. Greg and Pam were both persistent in trying to get me to commit to Northern. And I'm so glad that happened. Now, when I became chair, Greg told me that if Pam walked into my office, I needed to listen.
I wish I would have known that.
There were some other voices that I needed to pay attention to, but Pam was one of them. And the reason why was because Pam was passionate about her teaching. And if she saw something that was amiss, she would probably come to me as chair and say, this is something we need to think about from a teaching perspective. And so from a student perspective, I think that's going to be, again, a loss that we're going to see, is that our students who have taken PAM for Financial Reporting 3 and have, in very many ways, learned about materials in that class that I don't think anybody else in the country could teach as well. I think that's a huge loss for us. But on the other hand, I also understand things that are ahead of her and John. They're excited about what's going on in the future, and so when I hear some of those things bubbling around, I just say, look out, world, because there's more to be discovered with Pam and John. But Pam, thank you for all you've done for our students. Again, it was a class that is hard to staff. That Financial 43 class is hard to staff, and I never had to worry about it. So as a chair, that was something that was always good for me to know that Pam was teaching the class, and I knew that students were going to benefit. So KPMG is also going to have a loss here. Because you've been a great connection for that firm. They have been important to us, going back to Don and Pete Marwick. That's a huge connection. And I'm not sure the shoes that are going to be filled by that next person, that we're going to have some big shoes to fill to maintain that connection with KPMG. So thank you.
Well, just continuing the theme, I also was in San Diego that year. I had a breakfast appointment with the late great Pat Delaney and with Greg Carnes and John Engstrom. And Pam, I didn't have the pleasure of seeing you on that occasion, but I had the pleasure of seeing you at the University of Texas at Austin during the year that you visited there. And NIU has had a positive connotation to me for a long time because of its connection with the profession. And of course, obviously I knew of some great names associated with NIU, Don Piso in particular. But I would say that year that we shared at the University of Texas at Austin added to the positive connotation that NIU had to me. And I would also say that when I sent a letter to Pat Delaney expressing an interest in a faculty position that NIU had advertised, that I was happy to know that you didn't torpedo that application. And I've always been grateful that I think you facilitated my transition.
Contrary, I said, you want this guy.
Well, and that's been a blessing for which I'm grateful. But you've been a very dear friend, a tremendous colleague. When you sent out your letter announcing that you were leaving NIU, I was so touched with the elegance of that communication, and I passed that on to a buddy of mine in a different department. And I said, if there is a classier person than Pam Smith, I'd sure like to know who it is. So you're somebody that is a dear friend, and I will miss you profoundly, but I look forward to staying in touch with you and John in the years ahead.
I also want to echo what Jim said. When I was looking for a job and being interviewed in 2004, I don't even remember where that is. But and everything is a blur except Pam. And I just cannot forget how warm she was, and then how much she tried to promote NIU. Even after the interview, and I ran into Pam, she still said a lot of encouraging words for me. So until now, I still appreciate what you have done, And then when I came to NIU, she's always reaching out and stop by my office, ask me if I need anything. And she has such a passion for teaching, and so she's my role model for a great teacher. And also she's so passionate about the ethics education for our students. And I mean, she will tell me how she handle all these student misconduct and all that. And I think it takes courage to do that. We don't want to fail students. We don't want to let students not able to graduate. But I think she still stands so strong on her belief of having an ethical student who can represent NIU very well. So I cannot believe when I saw the email from Penny that she announced her retirement. I thought she will never retire because she loves teaching. So I will miss you a lot, Pam, and hopefully you can come back to see us soon and enjoy your retirement job.
What's wrong with me? Everybody's So, the first faculty member who had me over to their house for dinner when I came here was Pam John. And Rebecca was there too. You may not remember, but we were there. And my wife looked at Pam's house and said, "Okay, this is pretty good." When Andrew was born, she made a quilt and a pillow for him that we still have today. We'll have that forever. And when Ashley was born, she did the same. And she showed me what an outstanding colleague could be, and was a mentor to me, along with Jim and Dawn and Dave, and my mentor forever, Kate, and all the people that I came in with. And so you will be missed, and I will call you from time to time if I need a bit of advice or a pick-me-up. John, I don't know if she ever gets angry. She never got angry that I saw. She's always been very positive, very steadfast, and a wonderful person. You have set the example. Thank you.
So I just want to say something quick. So through the lucky straw, Jim assigned Pam to be my mentor when I first started. But she has been the epitome of a mentor. I could go to her, and I did go to her for everything. I could just stroll into her office and tell her what I was worried about or what I was concerned about, and I always got a piece of chocolate, as well as some great advice. You'll be greatly missed, and don't forget how much I appreciate how much you helped me.
You guys can all leave now.
All right. Forgive me, I normally do public speaking, and I have a lot to say, so I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, but just first want to start by, I can remember sitting in these seats for events for many years, where we're seeing people retire. And I've watched some giants from this department retire. Some of them are with us here tonight, and some are not with us anymore. In remembering these folks, the emeritus professors, emeriti professors, have passed along such a great legacy for this department, and it's been a pleasure to get to know many of these outstanding individuals. As I've sat in these chairs and watched these giants pass on, you always sat there and wondered who's going to take their place. And it's been amazing to watch year after year amazing faculty come back into the department. And I hear stories about all the work that you guys are doing and how you excel with your students and pass along so much to them and the passion that you have in the classroom. And so it's always been an inspiration to me just to hear the stories and see that, well, we've had amazing folks here from our maritime faculty. The folks that are coming up in the ranks have just been just as great. And so that's been always encouraging. So keep up the good work there. But I wanted to also talk about four individuals we're here to talk about tonight. Mark, Tamara, Pam has spoken so highly of you, and obviously from this room, you are loved and appreciated for all that you've done. And I'm sure your students they're here to speak about what you've given them in the classroom. We'd hear so many great stories. Congratulations to you both. To Margret, you are a rock star. There's no other words to describe you. How much you get done for this department and make it run so smooth. And the success of all the faculty here, as great as they are, they wouldn't be as successful without you. So congratulations to you. You will be sorely missed. That is for sure. And with that, one other person I wanted to talk about. And I want to do this in a manner of what I've learned as the spouse of a faculty member. Now to start off, I want to make sure that other spouses in the room are aware that your private life has probably made it into the classroom. Secrets that you thought were safe, things that would break the bonds of your relationship, have probably made it into the classroom. And I found this out once by talking to one of Pam's former students, where I found out that my secret sock drawer, yes, my sock drawer, had made it into the classroom. You may wonder, how the heck does that make it into the classroom? Well, Pam, in all the ways she tries to get across concepts, had used my sock drawer to teach LIFO and FIFO. Now, I thought it was kind of personal. I don't want to tell you which method I use personally, but your personal life has made it into the classroom, I can guarantee you that. I also want to talk about some things that Pam probably hasn't let on to most of you, and I think Brad is alluding to it. You've never seen Pam upset or I got a story. So most of you look at Pam as being this meek and kind and gentle soul, wouldn't hurt a fly. So, prop number one. Chalkboard eraser. For those of you younger in the crowd may not remember these, you erase the chalk off the board. These would need to be cleaned every so often because they would accumulate a lot of chalk dust. One day, Pam's class, as she's walking past a student, now this was early in her career, so I think this statute of limitations is up. I don't think she can get in trouble for this. As she passed by her students in the classroom, her student had made an inappropriate comment that she had overheard. Now, Pam, hearing that, decided she was going to apply some disciplinary action in a very sensitive but firm manner. And she did so by turning around and throwing the chalk eraser at the student like a girl. When I say like a girl, I mean she threw it hard, fast, right down the center, hit the student squarely in the chest, releasing a puff cloud of chalk dust throughout the whole classroom. Now, you may think that may have been inappropriate, but I guarantee you that student has never made an inappropriate comment in the classroom again. And to my knowledge, I believe he actually is a partner at a big firm. So, congratulations, Pam.
Statute of limitations is up, I think.
This is being recorded, right, though? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
Now, for those of you who are surprised at this behavior, Pam does reciprocate to her students. This is one of the things that she brings in her classroom, and some of you may have seen these before. But it may look like a plush toy. What it is actually a communication tool. Let me share how that works. Anybody who's been in one of Pam's classes knows that she likes to write out problems on the chalkboard, on the dry erase board, and she'll use every inch of that board. You will see dry erase markers flying across, and she's frantically going through the board, working out an equation, a problem. and trying to simplify to the point where a 5-year-old would understand it. However, if a student has a question and she's so engaged in that board, this is where this comes into play. The student can then, is allowed to, as I understand it, throw the communication tool at Pam just to say, hey, I got a question. Pam, how many of these have you been hit with?
A lot.
Soft. She still has her mind moved, so we're good there, but this is something that she's used in the classroom.
That was my problem. I used a hardball.
Now, this is not the only prop that Pam's put in the classroom. As an example, I have. How many of you have the Pam Company bond in your portfolio? I highly recommend this one. I'm waiting for this one to mature. Or, for those of you who maybe like an option contract, this particular contract is for a 633 and 433 class. The holder of this contract has the right to omit the final exam if the temperature is above 70 degrees Fahrenheit at 12 o'clock p.m. on noon on May 3rd, 2019. This option expires 12/01. Did you ever have to pay out on one of these?
No.
No. Okay, that's fine. Glad to hear that. Or, Pam also liked to bring in foreign currency for her students so they have a chance to see foreign currency from the world. Now, this is something that she's collected over the years, but also had a lot of students participate in giving her foreign currencies. Well, some of you here in this room. Yeah, I know there's been a few of you here. Now, at first I thought this was an ingenious idea. She has almost 75 countries in here, spanning over 6 continents. There's a lot of bank in this book. I thought she was ingenious. I thought, she's put this together to help fund our retirement. Well, leave it to the lady who's part of the Creating the Belief Ethics program. She reimbursed all the students for those contributions. So I'm hoping that she'll help to build this over the next couple of years in our retirement. And then we have this. I don't know how many of you have rebarred in class for classroom adjustment or attitude adjustments? No? Let me explain how it works first. 2 strings in here, 1 string per finger. Wrap it up your finger, you hold in your ear, and then when you hit the metal rebar, it makes a beautiful sound. So, Pam has done this for her students, and the idea behind it is you can take something that looks ugly, plain, dry, and yet you can find something very beautifully complex about it, something very interesting about it. And so that would be her lesson that she would give to the students, that you can hear beauty in the company. Now the really cool thing about this is Pam recently has posted her retirement on LinkedIn, and there's been lots of outpouring of students congratulating her on her retirement, but as I read through some of her LinkedIn messages, I saw repeating stories from students saying, Professor Smith, congratulations on your retirement, I wish you all the best, and accounting is beautiful. Very cool if they remember that story. So we have that. Different adaptation adjustment than what we thought I was going to go with. Now, one final thing from the classroom that I wanted to share was something that I thought was very unique, something that I love, and something I'm going to hope to hang in our house one day soon here. This is Tunamore. For all those who can't read this, in one of Pam's classes, she was teaching about amortization. And as she was going wild on the dry erase board as she does, she had a student that asked a question. Stop it. Professor Smith, what is Tunamore? Pam was a little perplexed. What is this student talking about? So she asked for clarification. And he goes, you wrote it on the board, Tunamore. So she looks at the board, and finally it struck her what the student was talking about. She had written on the board, plus unamort. But the student took the plus sign as being a T, and thus the class erupted in laughter, and Tunamort was born. One of my favorite stories from the classroom, Pam has told me that this is the only time she's lost total composure in the classroom, that she had such a hard laugh about this. So something I'll always remember, Tunamort. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about is what I've learned as a spouse, and this is going to hopefully wrap it up here. Over the years, I've watched my wife spend countless hours honing her craft, learning how to become a better teacher, and challenge herself to do better. I've seen her come home frustrated with herself when she felt that the class didn't get the key concepts she was trying to communicate that day. And she would spend hours developing new ways to present that topic to make sure her students were prepared for their future roles as accountants. In the process, many times I was her guinea pig as she would try out these new ideas on me. Matter of fact, I'm pretty certain right now that if I were to sit for FAR, I would pass. But it was amazing to me to watch how passionate she was for preparing for her classes. And then in 2003, I took the plunge and I went back to school to get my MBA. Harry Wright was the director at the time, and he allowed me to do something that I will treasure to the day I die. He allowed me to be her student. It was a really cool time for me. Of course, he also did something else that I haven't forgiven him for yet. He did announce to the class ahead of time, to my fellow classmates, that we were married, which ruined my ability to fund my tuition. Can you imagine all the bets I could have had? Hey, I bet you could get her telephone number. Hey, I bet you could take her out to lunch. Ruined, but that's all right, because what I gained was so much more. What I got from this was I was able to watch that passion that Pam had at home for preparing for her class and how it carried into the classroom. I was able to learn so much while watching also my classmates gain that same appreciation for Pam's ability to teach. Pam, after 30 years of teaching and countless teaching moments, I want to say, job well done, Professor Smith. I've watched you work so hard to excel as a teacher, and I've watched how you've helped so many other students achieve the best in life. And I'm so very proud of you, as your partner, as your husband, and as your former student. Congratulations, Pam, and welcome to a new chapter in your life.
One more story. So John alluded to this, that he was in the MBA program and graduated. So as if you've not been to one of our graduations before at the Conco Center, she knows what's coming. She knows what's coming. Typically the faculty of an area get a chance after the student comes through and is degreed and shakes hands with the president. The provost comes down the rank and meets the faculty. And so you get a shake or a hug, and what does Pam do? Pam...
I didn't do it, John did.
John.
You're right.
They grabbed each other and huge kiss. And of course, the faculty, I'm sitting there while I'm laughing. I'm just like, the faculty around me are all kind of going... and I'm sure everybody up in the Convo Center was doing the same thing. So
No, you protected my honor, Jim.
Oh,
You
I'm
said
sorry.
they're married, so you protected me.
That's true, I just said, that's husband and wife.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
John, Simon.
Your next dog should be 2 in the morning. I like it.
I changed the name this time to a tribute to Pam joined our faculty in the spring of 1994. We never had a colleague quite like Pam before. That February in DeKalb set a record for being snowy and cold, and Pam's distinguished academic career was just beginning to unfold. In the world of business combinations, Pam's students learned that amortization of the differential was not something inconsequential. You didn't know about amortization of differential.
That's what tuna mort is.
John does. Stressing ethical behavior has been one of Pam's goals. Her students have learned that ethical behavior originates from soul. For her many accomplishments, Pam was selected by KPMG for their professorship, a selection that has proven to be a wonderful relationship. And how about those derivatives that Pam has emphasized at FR3? Her students know that understanding derivatives adds relevance to their accounting degree. It was hard to teach, Pam. I tried it myself back in the 90s, and I'm sure that much has occurred since then, so congratulations on being able to do that. Pam was selected by NIU to be a presidential teaching professor. This award was in recognition of her outstanding teaching semester after semester. Now, Pam and John have decided to spend the next year with family. This necessitated that John leave Byron and that Pam leave the academy. Pam, there is no need to worry now about how your pension will be paid. Funds from the Rescue Act will allow your monthly payments to be made. It's actually true, isn't it? Pam, this is the final page of your 27-year career at NIU. On this day, we all wish you and John a heartfelt adieu. Congratulations. I wrote one more poem for Rebecca because, as we know, she's leaving for UT Chattanooga. And this one is titled, Rebecca is leaving for the Navy and Gold.
Not Michigan.
Okay, Rebecca interviewed with us during the fall of 2004. It did not take much time for us to realize that she had everything we needed and much more. Rebecca's first year with us was quite interesting in that in the fall of 05, Greg Carnes was our chair. But in the following spring semester, Jim Young became our chair with lots of enthusiasm and flair. Between 2005 and 2010, teaching financial reporting was Rebecca's specialty. This branch of accounting fit both her modality and personality. Then in the fall of 2010, Rebecca accepted the position of assistant chair. She went up the department's organization chart by one step, and the question was then asked, if the chair's position was vacant, would she accept? We knew the odds of this happening would have made this a wonderful bet. At the conclusion of 2015, Jim decided to go back to teaching after being chair for 10 years. And Rebecca's decision to be our new chair had the full support of her peers. During her time as chair, Rebecca has had to deal with problems caused by declining enrollments, departmental budgets, and the COVID pandemic. For confronting these problems head-on, Rebecca deserves a lot of credit. Rebecca, you are going to a state where you will pay much less in property taxes.
No income tax.
Where the pension system is one of the nation's best. These are issues that result in more peaceful nighttime rest. Now it is time to wish Rebecca our very best as she departs for UT Chattanooga, a school where their sports teams are called the MOCs, M-O-C-S. School colors are navy and gold, and where she will enjoy a climate that is a lot less snowy and cold. Congratulations.
Anybody else want to say anything further? Pam? And then we will cut the cake, and Pam, your gifts are on the left.
I just want to thank everyone so very much for all the kind well wishes. I want to congratulate Tamara and Mark as well, and wish you well. And Margaret, you know how we all feel about you. We're going to miss you very much. And this department, I've always been so passionate about, and it's because of its legacy. We stand on the shoulders of giants, Professor Kiso, and your shoulders are the base of it. And legacy is not something you leave for someone, it's something you leave in them. And I really believe that that's kind of the heart of this department. John, thank you for that kind of tribute. You didn't have to tell all the things.
Yes, he did.
But those are some of the best stories, he's right. I did nail a certain student really well with a chalk eraser my very first semester. I thought Pat Delaney was going to fire me. But I probably threw something at somebody else, but I stopped. I grew up. So, but thank you guys. I think one of the best things I have to thank NIU for is bringing me here is because I met the love of my life, John.
Okay, so we have cake, and please mingle as long as you want to. Again, thank you all for coming, and I will miss all of you. Hopefully I can see some of you again before I head out in about 3 weeks. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's lots of leftovers.